Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I recently had a young friend talk to me about the high level of incidence of anxiety in today's culture. Honestly, this was pretty prevalent before COVID. I would deal with it quite a lot. But since COVID and the isolation of so many young people, and frankly, even young adults, the incidence of anxiety and the amount of prescription medication to combat anxiety has escalated. I mean, skyrocketed through the roof. So let's talk about anxiety. You might think it's a funny thing to talk about on a day when we're going to deal with intention, but it is my intention to address a really difficult problem and maybe be of some help to you. Do you know that everybody in the whole wide world has anxiety? It's absolutely the truth. I mean, it is a part of life, right? We're going to go to a new job interview and we don't really know if we're going to do great at it, and it's well paying and we think we would like it, but we don't know if the person's going to like us or if it's going to be a good fit. We're biting our nails, we're sweating, we feel anxiety. That's a regular thing. That's a normal, appropriate response. Okay? Not that big of a deal. Some people, under regular circumstances, in just regular real life, feel a high level of anxiety. It might be a person with an excitable personality. It might be someone who's had a number of really negative experiences in certain areas of their life personally, and so they're not coping very well even with just regular stuff. They have this very high level of anxiety. They don't know how to calm it down. Incidentally, let me invite you, please, to come and be with me tomorrow. It is my intention tomorrow to talk to you about nurturing peace, most notably inner peace. So it will play off of what we're doing today. I'll just give you that little bit of information right off the bat. But listen to me a minute. What is anxiety? Anxiety is a physical or emotional response to a stressor. So somebody's coming after you and they're following you around a parking lot. You don't know them and you don't know what their intentions are. You have anxiety. That's an appropriate response. You get sweaty, you breathe a little faster, your heart's going a little faster, you don't feel okay, your stomach's a little fluttery. You're feeling anxiety. Someone's in your face yelling and screaming at you about something they didn't like that you did, and you're experiencing anxiety. Yeah, of course you are. This is a normal response. This is what anxiety looks like. How do you handle anxiety? All of us are going to experience anxiety from time to time, and it is a correct response. The difficulty is when anxiety gets to be a perpetual response because your body is kicking out cortisol, a hormone that can ultimately cause heart attack or stroke and makes you gain a lot of weight around your belly. A lot of times you can tell someone with a really stressful job, it isn't just that they aren't getting adequate amounts of exercise, it's that they're extraordinarily stressed or experience a lot of anxiety, and they build all this fat around their midsection. That's cortisol right there. Also, it does things inside of your brain. It keeps you from thinking really clearly. It will give you a few seconds of focus and then it just sort of scatters your thoughts around. And so it's a bad state to be in long term. It is actually part of the flight or fight syndrome. And it, usually with anxiety, the more common direction is the flight part. I got to get out of here. This isn't good. This is uncomfortable. And if it keeps happening and happening, it gets literally to the avoidance part. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not even going to try to do this anymore. The reason that this became so prevalent during COVID is kids, and frankly, a lot of adults as well, did not any longer have to cope with regular social situations. So you go a couple of years, you don't meet with people, you don't talk with people, you're not interacting on a daily basis, you don't have to make compromises or have arguments or differences of opinion. Suddenly you're thrown back into it all again, and you're not coping well with it, and you develop anxiety in relationship to all of those things that you have to do that you haven't had to do for quite some time. And you got comfortable with sitting in front of your computer or playing around on your iPad or vegging out in front of the television for 14 hours a day. And now all of a sudden you've got to go back out into the world and you have to perform socially at a certain level. You're going to have interactions with other students or with teachers, with different coworkers at work, and that's anxiety inducing. There isn't anything about that that is surprising for me. However, with this almost epidemic anxiety going on, and doctors oftentimes just handing out anti anxiety meds like they're candy, which is not really the best possible choice for dealing with anxiety, I want to address it for you. You can, in fact, reduce anxiety in yourself, because that's where we know that we always begin, and in your children. Let's talk about how. You can't stop the physical response initially. That is an automatic physical response. You're not controlling it going, oh, okay, now I'm going to get anxious. My heart's beating, my heart's beating, my heart's beating. Yeah, you don't do that to yourself. That's not how it goes. It just comes. Okay, but when it's coming, when you feel it coming, when you're taking yourself into a situation where you know it's going to come, that you can address. Here are some of the ways how. Number one, breathe deeply. I know that seems too simple and kind of funny to a lot of people, but it is really a big deal. You're getting oxygen inside of your body. You're slowing down your physical reactions and your mental reactions. And so, I've shown you this before. It's been a long time. If you're new with me, I'm going to show this to you. Here's how you breathe deeply. Always put your hands up. Sorry about my big old nasty owie there. Put your hands up and do this. It's best if you close your eyes, so I'm going to show it to you in real time. You're going to breathe in through your nose, hold it for about 2 to 3 seconds, let it out through your mouth, like this. Truthfully, I invite you to look at the before and after part of this. I have done this so many times, so often. Literally by biofeedback, which this deep breathing part that I just showed you is, I can take my heart rate down by about 20 beats per minute. I can bring my blood pressure way down. I'm talking 3 deep breaths and I am there. If you can learn to just take a good deep breath, hold it in, feel the breath in your chest. Don't think about all these other things. Just hold the breath in your chest, let it out. Do it 3 times. It will really slow down your world, slow down your physical responses, slow down your anxiety. Okay, so if a child feels anxious before they go to school, the last thing they do sitting in the van is do 3 deep breaths before they get off the bus. Just so you know, this is a great thing to teach your kid before they have to take a really hard test. I don't care about their age. At any age, including clear through getting their PhD at university, deep breaths will really calm and focus your body and your mind before you take tests. That's something you use all over the place in your world if you're smart. If you're going to go do a job interview, you do some deep breathing, even in the elevator if it's empty, or in the car before you go in. You'll literally see the body relax in response to those deep breaths. And I promise you, what you see on the outside is exactly what's happening on the inside. So learn how to breathe. The next thing you do is focus your thoughts. Oftentimes we put up all these things. Oh, they're going to hate me. Oh, I'm going to look like a fool. It's going to go really badly. I'm not going to do a good job at this. All these really inaccurate and not helpful messages that we give to ourselves. We have to learn to stop and replace the message. So, as I've shared with you before, the importance of the inner world, you have to learn to speak to yourself and say what is true. I'm going to do my very best here. That's what I can do. And it's going to be okay. I'm a really nice person. These people are going to like me just fine. And if they don't, it's okay. Because I still have my mom and my dad and my brother and my sister and my friends and my grandma and my grandpa. There are all kinds of people in the world who love me and like me. If this one person doesn't like me, yeah, that's not going to change my whole life. It's okay. Right? Going to school. I don't really know how I'm going to do. Okay, that is the truth. But instead of telling yourself, oh, I'm going to be terrible, you can tell yourself, Everyone else is just as afraid as me. Because I promise you they are. Some of them are probably more scared than you. Everyone else is struggling too. Instead of going in there being all worried about me, and you know how I love little Johnny One Note. Oh, me. Ah, honey, there are like how many billion people on the planet? You ain't the only one. Get over yourself already. Think about the other kids in the room. Look for someone else who's more nervous than you, who's sitting in the back, literally physically shaking. Go up to them and say, yeah, I'm kind of scared too. It's amazing what yanking yourself out of your own little world will do for you. It really will dramatically change anxiety. Don't go in there and say, oh, yeah, I know. It's terrible, right? Like, don't make them worse and yourself worse. Go in there and be an encourager and make them better, and it also makes you better. And then perspective, okay? You say, this really is a difficult transition. I've been home all this time. Whether it's a kid, a teenager, or an adult, this is the exact same speech that you've got to give yourself. And maybe as a mom or a dad, you need to share it with your child. But yeah, this is going to be difficult. I've been home by myself all this time. I got to do whatever I want, eat when I wanted, go to bed when I wanted. Even if I was working online, as long as I got my work done, I could do it at 2:30 in the morning. Dude, now I got to put on a shirt and a tie. I have to, wear a nice blouse. I got to get in my car, go to work. This is going to be an adjustment period because I haven't had to handle this stuff in a while, but I can handle it. I did this for years. Yes, this might have changed me somewhat, but for all I know, maybe it changed me for the better. Maybe it will give me more of an appreciation for my coworkers and my job. Maybe I'll find out that though I missed school, that I really love school and I'm going to have an amazing teacher and really great classmates. Talk to yourself in a way that's going to give yourself supportive care with things that are actually the truth, acknowledging that, yes, this is going to be a transition, but you're going to be fine through it. You're a strong, smart, capable human being. You're going to get through it. And you always have support nearby. You can call on your spouse. You can call your mom at the end of the day and cry your guts out and say, it was a lot harder than I thought. But all of these things handle anxiety without medications, which is, in my opinion, far preferable. And most especially when you're dealing with a kid or a teenager. Do you really want your kid on anti-anxiety meds the rest of their life because they don't know how to handle things? I don't think so. You really want to equip them to handle this. And so, start off by doing the very basic, essential things of coping with anxiety. I'm going to give you this one thing, though, because it is really the truth. If you're going through a stressful time period, you know, your mom has Alzheimer's, one of your kids broke their leg, your husband lost his job, your doctor might put you on a prescription anti anxiety medication for a little while. By all means, take the stuff, okay? You got so much flying at you and you've got to deal with all this stuff. No worries. Really and truly, I get it. Sometimes you need some help. On the other hand, don't use it as a crutch because you probably can handle things, especially regular day-to-day normal stressors, as long as you know what to do and you know how to support your own self and you know how to accept support from someone else. So please love your child, care for your child, nurture your child, understand your child, listen to them and what they're telling you, but teach them how to cope with and handle regular anxiety. My question for you today is, how do I cope with anxiety? And do I really think I can help my child do better at handling anxiety? Remember, we all have it. It really is a regular part of life and something we need to learn how to cope with. Thank you for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I will look forward to seeing you soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.